technology is always a solution in the crisis. So technology will be really handy. There are multiple areas in which this technology would be adopted. One area is in the conduction of admission tests. The other area where technology definitely will play a most important role is in the learning space.
For online education to really become mainstream and enroll, millions of students rather than hundreds of thousands of students, we need to have online degrees that are accredited by the various agencies.
My message to all the students and the higher education stakeholders is we need to double our efforts in this time in order to sustain and keep our economy afloat.
In India, we have to look at technology and education 4.0 as actually providing education to the uneducated, people who are not getting quality education.
Education 3.0 was nothing but technology driven. This is now going to be a permanent feature and is now going to figure in all the teaching learning activities of times to come.
I welcome you all to another chapter of Collegedunia Connect in association with Prodigy Finance. My name is Twinkle from Collegedunia Web Private Limited, India's largest review platform and leading search engine portal for higher education in India. Today, we are here to discuss an extensive guide on fueling a student study abroad aspiration. As we know, studying overseas is one of the most exciting chapters of a student's life. In a way, it is a unique experience that provides the perfect opportunity to travel, meet new friends, and learn a new language, and of course, obtaining a world-class education. For some, however, moving to another country isn't an easy transition, and there are challenges along the way. So, we have invited leaders from the industry across the globe to discuss these hurdles and how to overcome them. Now, I would like to introduce our panelists and request their quick opening remarks for the session. First, I would like to welcome Ms. Pooja Malik, Unitec Institute of Technology Country Manager, New Zealand. Hi Pooja, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, good. So I would like to request your quick opening remarks for the session.
Hi, I'm really thrilled to be on this platform and get an opportunity to share. I know when it's about studying overseas, there's so much information out there, and I get calls from parents and students getting confused on what path to take and how should they make decisions. And I think this platform is going to give them a lot of information on how to really plan their education, how to work on finances, and what would be the best choice going forward. So I'm really, really excited, and thank you to Collegedunia and Prodigy Finance for having us here, and hope it would be a great session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Pooja. Now I would like to welcome Ms. Ranjana Maitra, University of New Haven, Country Head, USA. Welcome, Ms. Ranjana.
I'll keep it short. I'm Ranjana and I'm the country head for University of New Haven for the last 3 years, and I'm also the CII IWN chairperson for Maharashtra. I think I'm the most tenured over here in terms of experience. All of you are much younger to me. I've had 30 years of corporate experience in TCS and Wipro, and at the cusp of 1990s, I went to study at the University of New Haven when it was not very common for women to go abroad for studying, but I had very sort of progressive parents. And I came back and worked in TCS and Wipro for 30 years in leadership positions, took a sabbatical, and now working for the University of New Haven and fueling a student study abroad aspiration. And this is such an interesting topic. And as some of you said before, that we get a lot of questions. So I'm really excited to be with my co-panelists, and thank you, Collegedunia and Prodigy Finance for this. Before I end, I would like to say one thing. As the adage goes, this is my favorite quote actually. If you want to plan for a year, plant rice. If you want to plan for 20 years, plant trees. If you want to plan for 100 years, plant education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Ranjana. Next, I would like to welcome Mr. Prathamesh Paingankar, Ohio University Regional Representative, Undergraduate Admissions, USA. Welcome, Mr. Prathamesh.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so thank you for having me. And this is my favorite topic. I have been an international student myself. So I've also studied abroad, and I can't wait to share my perspective with our attendees today.
Now, I would like to welcome Ms. Priya Kurle, Indiana University, Purdue University, International Recruitment Manager, USA. Welcome, Ms. Priya.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks to have me, and thanks for giving this opportunity to share this platform. I am a professional psychologist, and with my 10 years of experience into this overseas education, I feel you're really giving a good platform for students to know from the horse's mouth what it exactly looks like to study abroad and how to plan the finance before even if thinking about any country. So I feel it's really good. And today it would be more informative session. I could see all the pioneer universities here. So look forward to talk to you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Priya. Now I would like to welcome Ms. Nupur Mishra, University of Kent, Senior Country Advisor, UK. Welcome, Ms. Nupur.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I'm down with a really bad throat, so I'm very sorry if I sound very raspy. But thank you so much, Twinkle, for having me. And as everybody else said, it's a very nice opportunity to be a part of this panel. And as Miss Ranjana mentioned, she might be the oldest. I'm the youngest of you all. I've been in the industry for only 3 years, but it's been an absolute blast. And thank you so much again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Nupur. Now I would like to welcome Ms. Anju Singh, University of Arizona Regional Director, USA. Welcome, Ms. Anju.
Thank you, Twinkle. Good afternoon to all my colleagues here. Really nice to see your smiling faces after so long. Really excited to be part of this discussion. And I hope next 1.5 hours that we are going to be together, I hope this would help you to take a more informed and informative decision. And we are here to help in any way that we can. So thanks again, and really looking forward to chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Anju. Now I would like to welcome Ms. Mariana Alcocer, Strategy and Growth Prodigy Finance, UK. Welcome, Ms. Mariana.
Thank you, Twinkle. It's great to be here and to hear everyone here, the panel. We're very excited to be part of this. Again, for Prodigy, it's our mission really to remove financial barriers to education. So we're very excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So now I would like to request you to please set the context for the discussion. Over to you, Ms. Mariana. I have shared the slides. You can tell me when I have to move next.
Perfect, Twinkle. Thank you. So these are quick slides to tell you a bit more about Prodigy, what we do, why we exist, and then just hopefully with that set the table for the discussion. You can move on to the first slide. So this is really what I was saying, right? Our mission and the reason why Prodigy was created was an international student trying to get to a school in Europe, wasn't able to find funds, had to postpone their studies for a year. And when he was finally able to get to France, he realized how many students were actually going through this. And it's something that happens around the world, right? Funding really is one of the biggest barriers to education. And he started this business. He dedicated his entire life to it. And we've all joined in as part of this great mission. I've been an international student. I'm from Colombia. I currently live in London. I came here to get a master's, and this really kind of touches me. That many of the people that work here, we're here just to be able to help students change their lives and be able to access education. You go on to the next slide. You'll see a bit more about the company. We've supported over 25,000 students around the world. We've been around for more than 10 years. Work with almost 900 schools globally, and processed kind of loans for over $1 billion already. As I said, I'm headquartered in London. We have people in New York, in India, in South Africa. So really, we're a global company that is helping students from around the world. We've supported students from over 130 nationalities. So how our model works, and this is just a quick one, is we're really at the cross between students, schools, and investors. We work with all three of you to really bring you together, to direct funds from investors into changing students' lives, to help students access the best schools, and to help schools access the best students, right? To be able for the schools to help them arrive at students that maybe they wouldn't have the opportunity to do so in previous times. Go ahead. So a bit more about Prodigy and what kind of the advantage of our loan is. Really, as I was saying, because the company was started by an international student and really with the student in mind, all of our kind of details into the loan are for the student. So from the beginning, there are no co-signers and no collateral. The loan is completely between Prodigy and yourself. There are no hidden fees or charges. We charge an admin fee of 5%. Everything is quite clear on our website. Nothing that you pay straight off. So any fees are amortized for when you start your repayment. The process is fully online. You'll receive an offer within the next 30 minutes. Usually, sometimes it'll take up to 2 days now. Our loans are in dollars. We have customized offers with quite competitive rates. Our APR at the moment is around 9%. And we have quite flexible terms. So the students is able to select loans between 7, 10, 15, and sometimes up to 20 years. You'll get the free loan letter with which you'll be able to get your visa and kind of proceed with the school. And one of the key features is their repayment only starts 6 months after the class is finished. So during your time of study and 6 months after, you focus on your education, on getting yourself your job after you've finished classes, and then you start repayment. And another big piece is we charge no penalties for early repayment. We want our students to do very well. If in 2 years you are able to repay all of your loan, there is no issue with that. So that's kind of some of the pieces around the loan. That's fine. So just a very fast intro into kind of how we prepare to apply. You'll see a few things around exploring our eligibility, our schools, and preparing to apply. So kind of how does that look like? If you could. So as I said, everything is done online. You'll get started on our website, prodigyfinance.com. You'll have the opportunity, which is great, and we've seen a lot of students really take advantage of this, to speak to some of our ambassadors. So we bring you the opportunity to speak to other students, people that have gone through the journey, and that can help you kind of guide through it, that are not Prodigy employees. They're just people that have taken Prodigy loans in the past. Then the next part is checking eligibility, right? So again, we support international students that are doing masters. So the first thing is you plan to study abroad, that you're studying at a school that we support, and you'll be able to see within our website all of the schools, and that you're from a country or state we support. We have over 150 nationalities on there, is on there. It's one of the pieces to take a look at. And then on our website, that piece around schools, we've added new features to be able to kind of search for your school, to look at what are the different schools that we support if you're looking for a course in computer science, that sort of thing. So really, you'll be able to interact with all of the schools that we support. And within the website, before application, before anything, you'll see all of the courses that we support at each school. What is the list? What is the minimum and maximum loan amount that you can get? Our minimum is $15,000, and then our maximum will depend on the school. It's usually enough to cover tuition and living expenses, and then you just kind of start your application from there. So just to take you through a quick journey of the application, right? You'll get started, as you saw on the website. You start your application. Once you submit it, you'll receive an offer within the next 30 minutes probably. And then you go into a phase, which is kind of an underwriting phase where you upload your documents, right? So you send us proof of kind of admission, proof of identity, some of the information that just confirms what you submitted in the application. And then with that, we'll process all of the documents and finalize your loan. So we'll send you a loan approval, match you to funds, and send you this letter that you will be able to use with your university and within the visa office, right? As soon as you've received that, you can kind of take it easy. We'll work with the schools. And then you'll be able to sign your loan agreement once you arrive at your country of study. So if you're going to study in the US, once you arrive in the US, you'll be able to sign the loan agreement on the website with us. And then we'll take it from there. We'll send the funds directly to your school. If there are funds for living expenses, the school will later transfer to you. So it's kind of a clear process for the student not to be worried also that they'll receive kind of funds in India and then be able to then have to kind of do the transfer and everything. We'll take care of the funds to send them straight to your school. Yeah. Then the last piece of the loan, again, is a repayment. As I said, study first, pay later. You'll focus on your education. You only start to pay 6 months after you finish classes. And you'll have a few options on how to pay. We have our mobile app that most users use for the payments. And again, it's going to be quite an easy process for the monthly payments. So that was a quick overview. There's many people behind all of this. Prodigy, as I was saying, a lot of us have been international students. A lot of us understand the journey and want to support you in every way that we can. There's a few different places that you can kind of come in and talk to us and kind of any questions that you have around the loan. So I'll leave you with that. Just a quick overview of Prodigy, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mariana. Now we will start the panel discussion. Before that, I would like to thank our audience. I can see a lot of attendees. Thanks for joining us. I request you all to please ask questions. We will be more than happy to answer your queries. And please mention your questions in the Q&A box. So we will now start the panel discussion. Firstly, I would like to ask Ms. Ranjana, what's your, according to your experience, what's the current scenario in overseas education? How things have changed due to COVID?
Thanks a lot, Twinkle. I think that's a good question. I can speak on behalf of the University of New Haven, which is my alum and my university, which I work for in West Haven, Connecticut. And surprisingly, last 3 semesters, we have seen completely increased footfalls of applicants for all courses and all programs, especially the STEM ones, despite COVID. And we had to stop accepting applications in spring due to unavailability of visa slots, and hundreds deferred to fall 22. The testimony is that the US consulate last year has issued 120,000 F1 visas alone, which has surpassed all years. In a post-COVID world, the only jobs that are truly future-proof, that cannot be easily automated or outsourced, and one key category is management roles as well. During the pandemic, 2 things that stood out were leadership and the other was business analytics. To give an example, our University of New Haven, under the leadership of President Kaplan, focused on leadership training, and without that, we could not have gone through the pandemic. And without strong leadership, and a strong pipeline, those institutions did not have failed miserable during COVID time. The second is, of course, analytics, because there's a huge lot of data, all over the world, and you need to analyze it accurately and be able to make strategic decisions. We have seen a huge growth in STEM numbers of people applying, And surprisingly, health science has gone through the roof, especially the masters in public health. And we have all been totally geared to handle COVID, and all protocols have been in place with a very vigilant COVID task force in the university. So I can say that, yes, with COVID, with the pandemic, we thought things will go haywire, but we got it back on track and numbers are just increasing. Over to you, Twinkle.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Ranjana. I would like to ask your views, Ms. Priya, like from your experience, what changes you have seen due to COVID, and what's the current scenario in overseas education?
So as compared to 2020, like in 2022, like at least there are physical classes 90% on campus, and students don't have to worry about their safety and security. Most of the US institutions have in-house testing system, have booster doses for the students. Insurance covers everything. So I have seen, especially for our university, 56% of admission hike as compared to 2021. That shows that students are applying and they are interested to study in US. And we being among the top Big 10 university in US, we have received applications and we literally have to defer the offer or now put them into for another intake. So we are so flooded with it. And the fear of like having the offline classes or like if anything goes wrong, so that is not there. So all the protocol has been taken care of. The sanitization is done in the universities. Most of the time the masks are given free from the Office of International Affairs of most of the universities. So entire thing has been taken care of. And when it was in 2020 to 2022, we have seen a drastic change. Students have adapted themselves now for both the online as well as offline kind of classes. So I think we are doing great now.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Priya. Now, taking the discussion forward. I would like to ask Ms. Nupur, from your experience, what are the favorite study abroad destinations for the students? What are the deciding factors? How should students choose their study abroad destination for their higher education?
Thank you so much, Twinkle. I'm going to mention, since I'm probably the only UK university here, UK is a very popular destination. And the reason why I can very confidently say that is also because of the post-study work visa. Ever since that has come into the picture, students are very interested. It's not too far from India and it's not too close. A lot of availabilities are there for students, including the healthcare services and COVID relief funds, stuff like that. But some deciding factors which I have noticed is not just the funding, but also the kind of support and the kind of student life you get to achieve in the United Kingdom. London is practically just an hour away from Kent. So it's very nearby, and they get to study but then enjoy some kind of party life in on the weekend. Other factors which I think are present are also the support from the university. Coming from an international background, not necessarily every student has left their home country. The University of Kent is very much committed to making sure they feel at home. And we try our best from India to the UK, and when they are in the UK, to make sure that everything is available for them. If not, we have hotlines where they can call and they can make sure that the university knows, then we assist accordingly. Over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Nupur. I would like to ask the same question to Ms. Anju. Like from your experience, what are the favorite study abroad destination and what are the deciding factors? Maybe your mic is on. Please switch on your mic, Ms. Anju.
Is it better?
Yes, yes. We can hear you now.
Sorry about that. So as Nupur said, I'm sure everyone would agree when we talk about the favorite destination, there are, a few countries which come on top of the list. And of course, US definitely is a leading destination when we talk about student choices, especially from India. So as Ranjana also mentioned, and Priya as well said, that there's a huge increase in terms of the application numbers for all the university, and specifically talking about University of Arizona, which I represent here, we have 150% growth in terms of the applications numbers, and I am hoping that the enrollments would be better as well. Now, when we talk about what are the deciding factors for students to choose a particular destination, I'm sure it could be very, very tough decision. It could be really, really overwhelming, because studying abroad definitely is a life-changing experience, So before, students, whoever is joining us and listening to us, before you actually plunge into the first destination that pops into your mind, think a lot, sit back, relax, and do a lot of research about what exactly are the reasons why I want to go to a particular destination, and what sort of ROI you are expecting from that investment of yours. Of course, it's a huge investment, both in terms of time, your money, your efforts, and everything, a lot more than that, right? So, of course, when we focus on the deciding factors, I believe entirely first and foremost is that you need to decide what course that you should be picking up, I think, because that's the most crucial decision. Once you have passed that hurdle, things would definitely start falling into place. So what course you wanted to go for, which area, what's your preference, whether you wanted to go for a research in university, or you wanted to kind of go for some course which is industry focused. That should be definitely very important. Then scope of the selected course. Of course, you should not randomly just go for something that you're interested in, but at the same time, you should just look at what exactly are the internship opportunities, what sort of project experience I'll be, exposed to, what are the employment opportunities within the same universities and the country is really, really important to find out. Followed by that, of course, would be the educational structure. Is really, really important to understand whether, for example, if we in US offer mostly 4 years degrees, a lot of students do not know about that, right? But in UK, for example, there would be 3 years degree. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of picking a 3 years over a 4 years, or 4 years over 3 years? What exactly resonates with you? What's your requirement? Okay. But besides that, teaching pedagogy, what are the practical and theoretical aspects of? There has to be balance between both the things, right? That's also very important. And then interlinked to that is the entry requirements. Like a country like US would ask for, of course, most of the university used to ask for SATs and stuff like that. But after pandemic, most of the universities, including us, have dropped that requirement. It's going to be very, very simple for the students to join, for example, looking at their academic performance of last 3 years, IELTS, TOEFL. For grad students who are joining us, probably GRE or GMAT. Some departments have dropped that requirement as well. So check carefully about that and then go for that particular university based on what you can bring on the table or not. And after that, I believe is really important to find out the cost of the study. A lot of students just focus on the tuition part of it and then forget, what about the cost of living? All right, going to a big country, big city as compared to small city, there would be definitely higher cost of living. You will be spending more on travel and things like that. So affordability is a big factor. Look very, very closely into it. Sit with your parents and decide. And at the same time, from the university, try to find out what are the scholarship opportunities, what sort of funding is available from external agencies to support your decision. That will make your life very, very easy. All right. And after that, I think the couple of things that is really, really important. What is the end product? What is the ROI? That is what everyone is concerned about. So when we talk about the end product, everyone thinks about the careers, employment opportunities, right? Again, talking from the US perspective, everyone knows that, and those of you who do not, I'm very, very happy to share that if you choose US for STEM degrees, which we are very, very popular for, you will be getting an extra 3 years of stay back to gain work experience in the industry, which is really, really crucial to have your footing in the country, to gain work experience, whether to sort of continue working in the great country that we are, or come back to your own country and, use those degrees to get your footing into the industry. So that's really, really important. Talk to alumni, take their feedback, and then decide whether you really wanted to go to a particular country and then a particular university. That's really, really important. So these are a few things which I think are really important as factors to finalize a destination, followed by a university, then course, and things like that. So I hope that makes sense, guys. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
That's helpful, Ms. Anju. Thank you so much. I have one question from Ms. Mariano from our chat box. Stephen is from Ghana and he holds an offer to study MSc Mechanical Engineering. So he's asking if he can secure a loan to fully fund his first year master's in UK.
Sorry, there you go. So, Stephen, thank you for the question. My recommendation is to go onto our website. You'll be able to see right away all of the schools that we support. I'm not sure about your university, but if you take a look there, what I recommend is you go on our website, do the school search piece, and look for your master's. Look at the university and look at all of the universities that will support for that study.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariano. So following our discussion, I would like to ask Mr. Prathamesh, like what Ms. Anju said, what are the common points students should keep in mind while applying for study abroad? Can you tell the students how they can apply and tell more about what should they look at while applying for the university?
Can you hear me firstly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so you were asking about the challenges that...
Common points students should keep in mind while applying for study abroad.
Okay, while they are choosing to study abroad, right?
Right.
Okay, so again, they should, look at... I think Anju covered most of it, but what are some of the academic requirements, because they can get very confusing to international students. Then gathering of documents, because it is not like, India, where you can just submit your class 10 and 12 mark sheet and just fill out a simple application form and then you're done. There, you require many other documents like your LORs, for example. Essays are required. In the case of UK, it's the SOP that most UK universities, ask for. US would also like to know about, your extracurricular or co-curricular activities and things like that. And then I think understanding of the curriculum and program delivery is very important again, because in the UK, I remember the seminar system was very new for me, when I did my studies over there. So, it's not just, you attending a lecture and then going home, but you actually learn to apply what you learn inside a classroom in a seminar. So, you actually work on live case studies or, briefs. So it's very interesting and it could be new for you. So, just understand that. In the case of US, it is more of classroom participation. The faculty would also throw in some quiz in the classroom. And there are actually points for those, so it is counted towards your assessment. You'll also be given assignments that you need to write. And those assignments, you can't just copy from Google or copy from somewhere else. You have to actually dig deeper, go to the library, do some primary research, speak to people, qualitative and quantitative analysis, as we call it. So there is a lot more that is involved, than just attending lectures. Then evaluations, how you will be evaluated for your degree, that is important. Then application fee that is involved. All of these things, I think, should be considered by an international student.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Prathamesh. Now, I would like to ask Ms. Pooja, like we have discussed about the common points that students should keep in mind, what are the challenges specifically students face? Maybe it could be in the consulting part or getting them applying for the university they should go for. So what are the challenges that you have seen that students face usually while applying for study abroad?
Hi. I think working on the application process, I think it's, especially I've been working in the New Zealand space for quite many years, and it's a very different situation there, where the application processes are quite simple as compared to many other countries where there are very minimum requirements. Do you want to know about issues faced while applying, or is it through the rest of the process of achieving the dream of studying overseas?
Yeah, the whole journey for, getting into study abroad.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the biggest challenge which we've seen in the recent past is the COVID-19, which is an external factor which has disrupted many plans around the world. And I mean, I can see particularly for New Zealand, where the borders continue to be closed for the last 2 years. There's not even a single student who could really make it, apart from just about 2,000 students who could. But apart from that, I think, for example, New Zealand does not have any application fees, but there are countries where their application fees are pretty huge. So paying for those application fees itself means spending about over $1 lakh on those fees. And sometimes people don't have that kind of money to really invest in application fees around the world as well. And plus, there is a lot of confusion on what application processes are like, especially a lot of people face, because this is something that is a very common, I mean, it can be an Indian thing, but it's also that we love to talk more rather than we write. So our written skills in general, are quite, sometimes we really need to work extra hard on it. And people find it really tough to write the SOPs, statement of purposes. Letter of recommendations are pretty much quite standard, which everybody kind of copy paste and put it in the application, which doesn't work well for them. So what we really want to tell people is be authentic, write your true passion. It doesn't have to be a Shakespearean SOP where it has to be perfect, but it has to be real. It has to be something that you connect with. And also, especially people applying for non-English countries face a lot of problems with the application because the terminologies are quite different to what we are used to. So that also kind of comes into picture. But also guiding them on what standardized tests to take, what is the right time to take it, what would be the preparation needed for it, because sometimes some people will just go and sit for an IELTS for the heck of it, and they ultimately come up with a pathetic score. But guiding them that, you could really train yourself for doing something like that. And of course, ultimately, once they've got their offer letters, I think it is always the financial aspect of things as well, which kind of brings into, stops their journey, where they now think, oh my God, I can't really get the funds. Because normally when you call people, they will be either say, not going because of funds, not going because of a personal issue in family. This could be the challenges they have. But it's just making sure that, you have everything in place, because people get swayed by people telling them 100 things of what they need to do, and they overdo it sometimes, where they just need to plan it well. But planning is very important. You decide last minute to study overseas. It's a planned process because finances have to be planned. And based on what country you're looking at, you need to start quite early when you're looking at overseas education. And there's so many counselors available now, good counselors who could actually guide you through them. And of course, a bunch of us are here who have been doing this for such a long time. I think they should reach out to people who are experienced in the whole process so that they don't get misguided. And even people get misguided for the visa process, where they put the wrong documentation, which leads to visa rejections as well. So all that is very important, from making the right kind of application, applying to the right universities which match your profile also, and planning in advance for finances to make sure that you get the visa on time as well. That would be from me.
If I can just add here, I'm sorry, Twinkle. Just to add here, of course, Pooja covered lots of the app challenges which students face. And one of the things, of course, we should emphasize, I'm sure everyone would agree as university representative, is, of course, make use of the knowledge and the experience we have. Just reach out to us. when you talk to the universities directly, you get the right information and we are just a call away, or you just drop an email, right? But besides that, of course, start your research. The research part is the most important thing. That is deciding what study is the most important thing. So if you start your research at least 12 to 18 months in advance, then you would find yourself in a position where you will be able to actually shortlist those 4 or 5 institutions you want to focus on, and ultimately just zero on the institution of your dreams. So research definitely something I would emphasize again and again. Start it as early as possible, and I'm sure you'll see what you're looking for.
Thank you so much, Ms. Anju. I would like to ask Ms. Mariana, like you are from this industry, we have discussed about challenges students face while financing their study abroad education. So can you tell me what challenges you have seen students personally you have seen students face while applying for a loan or getting the fund for their education?
Yeah. So I think for us, really the biggest challenge that we see with student always, and I mean the reason why we exist is funding, right? Like funding as a barrier to education. A lot of times students won't be able to secure funds from kind of their home country or in the country that they're going to, right? So if you're planning on studying in the UK, you arrive in the UK, you don't really have a credit history here. So it's very difficult to find a loan or find some means kind of to cover your funding in the UK, and kind of doing the same in your country of study. So I think that's really the biggest thing that we see and the reason why we exist and why we're here. So we work with the student to help them kind of get those funds and be able to access the universities. Again, similar to what most people have said, we've seen that COVID has had quite a disruption, of course, in the industry as it's had in the world. What we do see is that more and more students are looking to study abroad, and more students are in need kind of funding and of being able to secure a loan in order to be able to go away. So we're kind of receiving more applications than ever and supporting more students than ever.
Thank you, Ms. Mariana. So we were discussing the challenges students face, like in terms of application, finances. So I have seen queries from students like, why should we apply for study abroad if anyway we have to attend class from home, or they're not able to go to classes. So what's the situation right now in the colleges? Are students going to the campus and studying, or is it from the work from home studies going on? So may I ask Ms. Ranjana if you can answer this question?
Yeah, good question, Twinkle. Now, as in the US, at least in University of New Haven, we are having all on campus classes. And that was a question which many students asked us also, can we do it from India? No, we don't have online classes. You have to come to the campus, be a full-time student, and do it completely in the classrooms. Yes, a couple of courses are offered online as well, which they can choose for, but I think only out of 9 courses, 1 course they can do online. So that's one of the things which students should be ready for, because US is all opened up right now, though Omicron came again suddenly. But like University of New Haven is completely green right now, and we have a very vigilant task force that keeps it in ensuring that we are right on the radar for everything. I just wanted to add something else. A lot of people talked about, what you should look at. One thing I would tell the students is that don't go by the herd mentality. I'm sorry for, digressing a little bit, because people say that, okay, my friend is going for this and this course, I want to do that. Please look at your strengths. And US does offer, STEM degrees 3 years and non-STEM 1 year, but it's very necessary that you do what you are specialized in, what you want to do, because that will help you get a job. Otherwise, if you don't do well, because STEM degrees are 50% at least quantitative. If you don't do well in that, you won't get a good GPA. Your scholarship might be revoked. and you will find hassles. So better do what you think is best for you. And that's where everyone said research is important and seeing everything. Thank you, Twinkle. Over to you again.
Thank you, Ms. Ranjana. Now, taking a cue from what you have just said. So there are many universities offering, online degrees. There's one where you enjoy the on-campus experience, and one is online degree you can do from India. So what's a better option for a student? Mr. Prathamesh, can you please answer, or from your experience, what's the better option?
Okay, so you know what? I think Anju would be the right person for this question, because we do not really offer, online degrees at Ohio University for international students. But I am all for in-person. I'm not at all for online, because if you're going to study abroad, you're not just going there to study, you're also going there to groom yourself and experience the rich diversity that US universities have to offer. So this is what my response would be to your question.
Sure. Yes, Ms.
Anju, before you go ahead, I'll just add one point, Anju, before you go ahead. I, studied there 30 years back, studied when there were no Indian girls out there, and I had all international students. It was such a wonderful experience, taking in the culture, coming back. And when I did my corporate jobs at TCS and Wipro, that experience came in so handy because I was overseeing a 5,000 force across 5 continents. And the cultural thing came in so handy, more than what I learned in MBA. Over to you, Anju. Sorry, I took away your...
Thank you for sharing. And I know, Ranjana, you have, lots and lots of, experience. So we'd love to hear your thoughts, definitely. But talking about the current scenario, COVID-19, I believe, has changed the way our target group, which basically, I'm here just focusing on parents and students. So they have just basically changed the way parents and children look at overseas education, that particular landscape in particular. And there has been a flurry of new and complex concerns which needs to be navigated, I would say. So currently, of course, I was just reading a few days back, there was a survey which was conducted by WorldGrad, and it says 72% of aspirants who are willing to study abroad are looking at hybrid mode. Okay, which was really, really interesting for us as a university, because as Prathamesh, just shared that we are very heavy on online degrees. It's not just because of COVID, but we were planning to offer online and hybrid mode of studies for years, and that's totally coincided when the COVID arrived. It's definitely not a great time to launch it, but it definitely worked pretty well for all the students. In fact, we were one of the first universities to address that concern. And by hybrid, I'm sure those of you who do not understand that term, let me just explain. So it is partially online and partially offline. So that is also something which can be understood from this particular term that we've used. So most of the parents I have been speaking to, we get in touch with hundreds of students on a daily basis, not daily, like monthly basis probably. But most of the parents, in my experience, are concerned about 2 issues. One is health safety of their kids, and definitely cost of the study is become a big issue. So in order to address these 2 major issues, University of Arizona definitely is talking about, one, of course, is transit to the main campus option, wherein the students from India or anywhere in the world, they can start their degree, especially at undergrad level, guys, I'm talking about in India, for maximum of 2 years before they transit to the main campus. Okay, so it's not that you have to study in India for 2 years, but you can move to US after 1st semester, 2nd, 3rd, or maximum after 4th semester, you are required to be in the main campus. And the best part is the cost. So by doing this, we are also addressing the question of cost. Health is definitely taken care of. So cost definitely is one thing which has come into picture very strongly, because we are offering that option to our students at just a cost of $3,500 per semester. So students and parents both are welcoming this idea and opting for it. Initially, there was not much interest, I'll be very, very honest. But the way things are sort of unfolding now, there are a lot of interest. When we talk about the hybrid mode. So it's definitely coming up our way. And then as an option for both undergrad and postgrad students, we have a handful of degrees which are available on fully online mode as well. And slowly and steadily, we have seen that shift happening among grad students who are unable to opt to study abroad because of personal or professional commitments or lack of funds. So they are the ones who are opting for fully online degrees, and we have many degrees available. The information is definitely on our website, but in collaboration with Upgrad, we have just launched our MS in Data Science program, which can be completed for about 2 years. It's such a hot topic these days. So students are really wanting to do that. And of course, like everyone else, if you ask me, my favorite is to just go into the campus and study and just experience the in-person sort of, class, and to interact with faculty and experience the culture, the food, the friendships. So that is what I am voting for right now. But this is what University of Arizona is doing. So I was really happy to sort of share that thought and option for the students who might be interested.
Thank you so much, Ms. Anju. So I've seen lots of questions in chat box related to part-time job. If we can do part-time job, if we can fund our education through it. So Ms. Nupur, can you please tell our students what about the part-time jobs and how can they use it?
Yes. So for the UK, I know most of the students are aware of the post-study work visa. But at the University of Kent, we do have options for students to convert their undergrad and masters with the +1. So the +1 would be a year in industry or an industrial placement year. So the way that works is that the student would study and then they would work in the industry. They would come back and write a paper all about what they have been gaining from the corporate world altogether and how they think they would be applying their degree altogether when they go and work full time. Now, the reason why we've introduced this particular factor is so that students don't necessarily need to go through their freshers phase in a new country altogether. We understand that students don't have the work experience, and that leads to some kind of issues in getting a full-time job, especially in their choice of area. So this 1 year, it's at a very nominal cost. I think it's for £3,000 to £4,000 for the entire year, and then including a £10,000 for living. It allows the student to enjoy various sectors in that particular corporate region, and they can choose by the end of that to understand which area they want to commit to. For part-time jobs, I think as per the visa, you can work for 20 hours a week, and the university does assist in finding a job in campus or outside. So we do assist, but we do not handhold. I think all the representatives here would agree that it's a little different from India. We do not spoon feed or handhold students. We motivate them. We try to give them all kinds of opportunities so that they can find what they're looking for. We give them a push, but not necessarily would we hand them what they're looking for in their hands. It allows a lot of development altogether.
Thank you, Ms. Nupur. So I would like to ask Ms. Priya, like Ms. Nupur said about the UK situation, what about USA? What are the conditions for the part-time jobs and how it can help students?
So like in US, you can work part-time 20 hours a week and full-time during your vacation. Plus US, most of the universities give hands-on practical experience right from your first semester. So you're not waiting for it, especially when it comes to us. We are located in the capital city of Indiana State, that is at Indianapolis. All the industries are very close to us. So right from the first semester onwards, students actually get the part-time job into their desired field. So that helps them a lot, and they don't have to wait till the third or fourth semesters of undergraduate degree for an internship. Right from their first year, they get themselves involved after their second semester into internship. So that's the plus point which a student get of studying at our campus at Indianapolis. Moreover, since we are a federal funded urban research institution, we have a lot of project works right from the first year. So we involve students into those project works, and they have been paid from the department to do that. So part-times are mostly been arranged into our campuses. So they get the actual taste of how the industries look like. When it comes to a master's program in US, most of the Indian students are not aware that graduate assistantship, research assistantship, teaching assistantships are available in the master's program, wherein the department puts the student into a project work and they are paid for that. Sometimes it's minimum $15, and sometimes it's really good thing for especially computer science, informatics program, where you get the actual project work to do. So this is the scenario about US, and because of the hands-on practical training, we are the hot destination for students, especially for students who is looking for proper formal education rather than just immigration plan and settling down like Canada and Australia. So if students do their research work right, they can really work out. There are affordable universities in US wherein you can study, and if you're going for a STEM program, you have 3 years of OPT, and that gives a settlement plan. You don't have to go for a short plan. So if you are thinking about a good life, quality of education, quality of life, US values each and every individual, and it's not a discriminating country. So a lot of people from different nationality are there, and you have a growth option irrespective of your citizenship. A lot of Asian people are now in the leadership position, not just in the universities, but also into the industries. What students need to keep in mind, and you can compare it with other countries, how much growth options do they give? So US is definitely a good place to study, work part-time, and get a full-time job if you're into a STEM education after completion of your program.
Thank you, Ms. Priya. Now, I would like to move the discussion towards more selecting courses and placements. So, I would like to ask Mr. Prathamesh, how should a student choose a course or an area of study for better placement prospects? Yeah.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is a very interesting question, Twinkle, and this is how I would like to answer it. So firstly, you should choose something because you like it or you're passionate about it. Not because you're going to get a better salary or a better life. Also, it should serve some purpose or solve a problem. And if you take up something just for a better job, then it may not work in the long run. Trust me. And one of my mentors, has said this, and I agree with them. They had once said that, the problems of today will actually be the careers of tomorrow. So if you think about it, today, the world is facing so many challenges, right? You have climate change, global warming. There is, poor healthcare facilities, pandemics, epidemics, poverty, corruption. There is safety and security issues. There are wars happening, in this day and age, diplomacy issues, gender equality, and so many more problems, So I believe professionals who are able to tackle these issues with their education and degrees will be in demand. So that's how I would like to put it, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Mr. Prathamesh. Ms. Pooja, would you like to add, how students should choose a course or the area of study, and how work experience can help the students while taking admission abroad?
I get a very often I hear this question that I have Indian work experience. Would that be of any value overseas?
Right.
I wonder that any work experience is countable. If you have faith in your experience, why not? You have gained those skills. If you've worked with people, you have managed things. I think you should be very proudly putting that on your CV. Going overseas doesn't change your value in your own country. And one thing is that your main goal when you're going abroad is to study. If you're going to detour from that and do 100 other things than study, you will always be disadvantaged, because end of the day, employer is going to look at how good your grades have been. Even for applying for jobs when you are there, very important is networking. Just going from your accommodation to college, party and come back is not going to help you. So make sure that you're involved. You are there in the networking events, which are happening not just in your university, but outside as well. All the universities around give you a lot of opportunities to be at sessions. And a lot of time, I tell you that there are a lot of seats which are not filled because people refuse to be there, because of course it's going to help their career. So people worry about their career a lot, but how much effort needs to go in to get that is what we need from students. And every job requires you to make a cover letter. Now that cover letter can't be same for 5 jobs that you apply to. So make sure that you tweak your cover letter, you tweak your CV. Communication skills is a key. A lot of time we don't give emphasis on soft skills, but soft skills matter a lot. And in New Zealand, we say you might have all the aptitude of the world, but if you don't have the right attitude, you don't get the job. So have the right attitude, work hard. I'm not saying work part-time all the time. What's the purpose of going overseas if you had to work part-time? Work in India then, no point going overseas. But the purpose is make sure you have the funds, because if you have the funds as a backup, you will focus more on your studies. And I've actually seen a lot of people, especially in countries where there's so much flexibility in paying your tuition fees, that they're half the time worried. They don't even have money for the next paper they will study. So I can understand what their mental health would be like. So it's very important to have your finances in place. Make sure that you are 100% in for the program of study. I often get students who say, I did 2 years engineering here, no more interest, I want to do business. I think that's much better when you know what your interest is and choose something which is your true calling. So yeah, that's it from me. I think over to anybody else who wants to contribute.
I'll just add something here. Thanks very much. All of you said that. When I was studying, we didn't have that. But now in our University of New Haven, we have a career development center, which is ranked number 17th in the country. And we encourage students to take advantage of that right from the first semester. That helps a lot. How to write a resume, what you were talking about, Pooja. The covering letter has to be tweaked. The soft skills are important. How to face, we do mock interviews and stuff like that. We have a 62,000 strong alum. So all these things are very different. And as someone else said, we are not going to spoon feed. I think Nupur said that, we are not going to spoon feed you. And that the students have to take away from the mindset. Nothing is going to be spoon fed. You are on your own and you do that. And they're too worried about the finances. If you don't have the finances in place, please don't go and think that you're going to get a job, a part-time job, and you're going to sort of manage it. Your grades are going to fall like anything. Your scholarships, yes, and your part-time jobs in the university will assist you, but you have to have the funds. And that's why I think, Prodigy Finance and others come into play, and where they help you to, get the student loans. Do that. There's so many avenues available right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ranjana. Now, I would like to ask Ms. Priya, someone asked in the chat box, what if we don't get an internship there? What if we don't get a part-time job? Students do face challenges in getting a job. How can university help, or what kind of other help students can get once they reach to, their country or UK, USA?
So most of the institution, they have like a cell, which is like Office of International Affairs, which helps student in getting the part-times, internships. There are certain student organization when a student have to enroll themselves, where other peer students, their seniors, tell them hey, there is an opening here and there. And that is how nothing is spoon-feeded. One needs to understand that. As soon as you land in the campus, enroll yourself in as many student organization you can, enroll yourself in the Facebook group of students of that university. So where there is very cheap accommodation available, anything in the second hand, like any things available, any internships or any opening or any project work available, they come to know from that. So they should not wait like a university faculty will come and say, hey, there is a part-time job or there is an internship where you have to go, you have to find on your own. But we do have certain programs where the internships are inbuilt. Most of the institutions does that to give students the hands-on practical experience. It would be paid or unpaid. So, but one thing, like, as everyone said, whenever you think of studying abroad, make sure your finances are in place. It's not like 1980s and 1990s where you land up and you do part-time work and you do your studies and somehow you make your living. You have to have everything in place. Don't depend on your part-time jobs to pay your tuition fee and your living expense. So make sure before you come that you have the required finance in place. If not, and if you're thinking about a country like US, before you land in US, I would like the students to do an online courses like data analytics and all, because a lot of project works are available in that area, no matter if you are into STEM or you're not into STEM. A lot of project works you will get to do even sitting into your own house. Like, you can do that and you will be paid for that. So if you are thinking about like, okay, I can only take care of tuition, or my parents could only take care of tuition and could show first year of living expense, and you need to think about like, okay, you have to cover it up, and this is the best option. Look, like being like for 10 to 12 years in market, I really like to speak practical, no sugar coated words. This is like, the practical thing, and not everybody has the required finance and people want to do part-time. That's why they are so much concerned not about the work experience, but through internship they want to earn money, and that's their major concern. So think wisely, be practical, do your own research work, look out for everything, and try to focus more on your GPA, because if the faculty like your work, they involve you into the project works and you're being paid out of that. So make sure, have a good relationship with your faculty, because they are industry oriented, they have good contacts in industry. After completion of your program, sometimes with their reference you have in place. So make sure you're doing well into your academics in whatever time duration you are on campus.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Priya. Thank you so much. Now, Ms. Nupur, could you would like to add some points how students should get the internship? Should they fear about getting internship while they are studying abroad?
Did you ask me that?
Yes.
Yes. All right. I think I would agree with all three of the beautiful ladies who did mention this. I mean, 100%. If students are going abroad, I understand they want to work for money, but they should make a clear decision if it's for money or if it's for experience. That's where opportunities like a +1 or a year in industry come in, where they can work, they can get a stipend, but then they can also get the work experience. 100% agree with Ms. Ranjana, Ms. Pooja, and Ms. Priya. No sugarcoating. If the student wants to go study and they want to get the exposure of an international university, they should be focused on putting their best foot forward and not being very distracted when it comes to funding. It affects their scores, and it also affects on how the faculty perceives them as a student. I agree with Ms. Priya as well. When it comes to the faculty pushing them or promoting them to different industry people. I remember during my university days, I would be very involved in events, and I was very close to a handful of faculty members, and they were very keen to push my CV across to their industry prospects. I still remember I got an internship with Swarovski. I met the marketing CEO, and I was pushed by a personal faculty member because she knew that I was very interested and I put in the best foot forward. So not necessarily do they need to go and earn money in a part-time job. They need to be focused on what they're looking for. Is it experience or is it the money? I think if they're investing that kind of money, they should focus on getting the best out of it and then worry about what career prospects are available.
Thank you, Ms. Nupur. I guess I saw one question in Q&A box related to, like, we have discussed what are challenges students face once they get the admission. But once they get the admission, what are the challenges they face after going to a different country? Like related to in terms of coping up with, students with different ethnicities from different countries, managing their studies, part-time job. How does it affect their mental health? Ms. Anju, can you tell me and how students should get support in this scenario?
You're asking me, sorry?
Yes.
Right, of course, yeah. Once the student sort of makes his decision of taking that plunge into a particular country or a university, there could be a lot of challenges. But before I go there, of course, it would make a lot of sense for the students to keep, him ready, make himself ready for the coming couple of years or 3 to 4 years that he's planning to do. So a proper planning definitely is needed, and how he can prepare is with the help of the university is planning to finalize with. For example, if you're talking about University of Arizona or any other university for that, most of the university has representation in the country. So they have come up with these orientation sessions within the country itself, or by involving students in the pre-departure briefing session, so they are well versed with what to expect, right? They shouldn't be venturing into something which is unexpected or something which they would be afraid of, or they should be mentally prepared for that. So in that sense, we start doing and organize. Of course, in the real world, when things were good in past, we used to do in-person sessions, but now because everything is virtually, we did our pre-departure briefing session also last year virtually, and we got lots and lots of participation both from students and parents side. And they said it was really helpful for them to understand more about how to go about probably to start off visa appointments for that matter. Once they have done that, how to book their flights, how to orient themselves with the entire pedagogy that they are, getting into, what sort of teaching methodology we will be adopting to ensure that the student is comfortable. What are the cultural differences to expect? There are lots and lots of such small things, and those of you who have studied abroad will understand that better, how important it is for you to have a good understanding of what to expect. So these could be definitely a lot of challenges for a student, but if planned well, then the university definitely can help you in addressing those issues. Housing, nobody's talked about that. We should definitely, one of the reasons why we try to sort of encourage students to apply early and finalize a university early is to find a good housing option based on their needs, right? Because again, I'll just take my example because I am associated with University of Arizona. So last year, sometime in the May, all the housing options were like done with. I mean, there was nothing available just because students were like finalizing, the moment it opened, within 15, 20 days, all the housing were booked, which is a great, great challenge. And the parents who were sending their kids on their own because the visas were not given to the parents, it was even more challenging for them. So having a place to land and just spend your next 2 to 3, 4 years is really, really important. So we suggest students to finalize their dorms, especially now university, for example, there are 23 options. So students can choose whatever they like based on their budgets. It should definitely, be affordable option. It should be safe option as well. How far it is from the department, how much time it would take me to reach a particular destination or a class or wherever they plan to go is also very, very important. So these kind of minute details which we tend to ignore needs to be addressed, and the university could be the best guide. The local representatives like ourselves would be the best people to help you in that regard. So be in touch with the universities you're planning to apply, be it US, be it UK, be it New Zealand, and we would make sure that you get the guided assistance to ensure that you feel less sort of apprehensive about your, plans of study abroad or reaching a particular destination and things like that. And once you are in the university, of course, I'm sure someone mentioned that we do have an office for student services. They will help you ensure that you settle well And one thing which I would definitely suggest before I close my comments is that, of course, you're going to land in big universities, right? We have like, for example, in our university, we have like 47,000 students. So unless you go forward and ask for help, nobody would come asking, right? Whether you're in trouble or if you are facing any issues. So go and ask, and I'm sure help would be available. If at all you face any challenge, you need to go and talk about it. That's the most important thing. And if you follow this advice, you'll be comfortable anywhere. And all these universities have amazing student support services. As long as you ask, you will be in a good place. So that is what I have to add in terms of what you asked for.
Thank you, Ms. Anju. Ms. Pooja, I would like to ask from you, like from your experience, what challenges students face once they get into the university? Yes, your mic is on now.
Yeah, now it's on. The challenges that they face, I think it's pretty much covered the challenges that they might face. But what we've put in place is that we have a mental health support center at most of our schools, I believe, would have that. And if somebody is feeling overwhelmed or is unable to find their way through, we have these counselors who are available throughout the working hours of the college, and they actually come and sit with you and work out a plan for you, chalk a plan for you. So what about the mental health? So we have buddy systems, we have student support. And at our college, we also have a nick, a corner where everybody kind of puts things that they don't need or they have extra. And anybody who wants them, they can just quickly go to that corner. And it's a hidden corner so that people don't feel that they're picking up stuff and they don't feel, so it's just a hidden space. People can go pick up things which they find are relevant to you and they pick it up. But the moment we have student connector systems as well. So the moment they come, we have these student connectors who are wearing these fluorescent jackets, and then you know that this is a person who can guide them for the day, and they kind of felt supported. And New Zealand being one of the finest countries for their pastoral care and health and safety, there is a lot of emphasis on this particular aspect, and I'm sure all other universities have, always keep that as the priority to make sure their students are happy. But of course, going from a busy city, for example, going from Delhi to maybe a one city in New Zealand might be a very different change of geography as well, from quiet to a very, very peaceful place. So people do feel homesick. So this is something we tell them, that you will feel homesick, but it will take some time to move from it, because once you make friends, once you've kind of settled in, and that changes everything. So we make sure that don't stick to your Indian community only while you're there for the international experience. So kind of hang out with others, because there's so much to learn. And sometimes you learn more about yourself once you hang out with people from different cultures. So don't be restricted to just being in your community, because the whole point of going overseas is to get that international experience. And that comes handy when you're, looking at jobs later on, or even networking with other people. And very important is the accents can be different as well. So of course, once they reach there, it takes a while to really, get hold of the accents. And of course, a Kiwi accent is so different to a UK accent and others. So they get used to, because sometimes your teacher might be speaking so fast, you can't really capture what she's saying. So there could be such challenges as well, which are cultural, which are just, how everybody kind of, you need to learn that you need to fend for yourself, because here the mentality is everything is given to your platter, but there you need to get things and put it in your platter. So get going, ask questions, nobody's judging you. If you don't understand, ask again. I tell the students, who's paying the fees? You are paying the fees, and you have every right to ask questions, get help. And there are people who are willing to help you. So I think they just need to come out from the comfort zone. And once they kind of adjust, once they culturally adjust, I think they become such wonderful workforce. And I think these countries should be thanking us for giving them such brilliant people from our country who have really contributed to the economy. So I think people who work hard and who study well and who care for the country as well, because when you're going to a new country, respect that country. in every way possible their rules and regulations. That's another thing that one has to really get used to. And always, keep that, be politically correct as well when you are in any situation. And that is some of the things that I would suggest or advise the students. Be yourself, enjoy the culture as well. Don't be just a bookworm. There's so much adventure, and New Zealand is good for adventure. Enjoy the wine, enjoy the coffee. Don't be too serious. And I think at the end of the day, things fall in place, and we always have good stories.
Thank you so much, Ms. Pooja. So I was just surfing through the questions. So I would like to ask Mr. Prathamesh, like personally, what advice you give? Like I'm seeing question related to funding, scholarship. How can student avail scholarship? And personally, what advice do you give students related to fee financing, etc.?
Sorry, Mariana, did you want to speak?
I just had a quick comment on the last question before we move on to the next one, and just what Pooja was saying. As an international student that went through it, I did my first international studies in the US, and when I arrived, there really are so many things that the university offers to you, so many services and counseling, and they have so many resources, and they're there for you to use. Like, don't be scared to use them, to reach out to the university, to speak to them. They've had so many students just like you that have gone through the same journeys, and they've designed kind of services to support you and to be kind of a part of your journey. So my just recommendation from experience is don't be afraid to go to the university and talk to them. They're there to listen. They're there to help you and to support you to kind of get your studies and to be able to focus on your education. So I just wanted to leave that there, because I remember from my time kind of arriving at the US, brand new, not really knowing the system, I was always a bit afraid to go talk to the university, thinking that it might reflect negatively on me. And I would say it's completely the opposite. It really is a matter of the universities are there to support you. You're one of them. You're one of their community. So use all of the services that they're providing for you. That was all.
Thank you, Mariana. So we have covered lots of topics, lots of challenges that students face. So just before closing this session, I would like to request the speakers if they have anything to add that we have missed out during the session. It's an open question. Any of the speakers can add their points.
I think, Twinkle, we should let Prathamesh talk about the scholarship. That's, I'm sure, the most popular question, which you asked about financing your studies abroad and scholarships. So I think before we wind up, I would request to give Prathamesh some time to focus on that.
Yes, Mr. Prathamesh, please.
Thanks. So yeah, I mean, US out of all the destinations, is known to offer generous scholarships. For international students, it's a mix of merit-based, need-based aid. But generally, it's merit-based that is offered, and it is obviously dependent on academic merit or achievement. So it can go from a full ride where everything is covered for you, to a full tuition, to a half tuition, or up to a certain amount, that the university can offer. And this can actually take care of, your expenses partly. But the other half is something that the student has to manage, because not all universities are going to offer you a full ride or a full scholarship, right? So generally, I suggest students to seek out these, additional scholarship opportunities available to them in their home country. Like they could, reach out to their community folks, or, if any community or religious organization is offering them a scholarship, or, if their parents' employers are offering them any scholarships. Because I remember when I was, planning to study abroad, my father's company actually offered me a one-time, assistance, because I also had the grades, to showcase that it's not going to come for free. So you could seek out those opportunities. There are also private organizations, like the Tatas, I know, there is Microsoft, Google, QS, all of them kind of offer, these scholarships to students. It could be for specific majors, or it could just be, to study abroad. There are also these privately funded organizations like the Setna Trust in Mumbai that I am aware of. So you could, seek out these opportunities in order to kind of, bring your costs down, or, help you to actually realize your dream. And again, you have folks like Prodigy Finance. I think they make the process very easy, because applying for a loan from a nationalized bank here in India can be tedious or can be difficult if you don't have the required paperwork or the collaterals to show. But then I think universities are also trying to help you, to kind of manage your finances.
Thank you. Thank you, Prathamesh. So I would like to now close this session. So if any speaker have to add anything? Okay. Okay. So thank you so much for such an enlightening session, panelists. Very interesting session. And thank you, Mariana and team Prodigy Finance, team Collegedunia is glad to connected to associated with your organization. Thank you all. It was really an insightful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for connecting with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye.